Welcome to an example in which we're getting the cosine of 195 as an exact answer. How do we do it? Well, 195 degrees, we can't just use our calculator because they said they want an exact answer, right? Not a rounded decimal. You can hit the buttons on your calculator, hit cosine of 195. You'll get some decimal that goes forever and you'd have to round it and then it's no longer exact. Right? Because it's rounded. Rounded is not exact. So they want an exact answer. So we can't do it on a calculator. Well, we can do it on the unit circle, right? Well, the problem is there's no 195 on our unit circle, is there? Right? 195 should be, I don't know, right around there. Between 180 and 210, but it ain't there, is it? So there's no 195 on the unit circle, and I can't use my calculator because I'll get a decimal that goes forever and I have to round it, and then it's not exact. Well, how in the world do I get cosine of 195? Well, they tell us right here to use a sum difference formula. So let's go look at the formulas for adding up cosine. So come on down to the formula sheet I provided for you. Cosine of two angles added is cosine, cosine, sine, sine. And notice the plus minus here becomes minus plus there. So I'm just going to recopy that formula up here for us. So we have the cosine of two angles added or subtracted is cosine, cosine, sine, sine, and we go x, y, and then this is minus plus. See how this is opposite sign in the middle, right? Because they're doing. Right here they got plus minus, and here they have minus plus. When they put those in the opposite order, they're telling you they're the opposite signs. Meaning if you have a plus here, this will be minus, or if you have a minus here, this will be plus. Okay, so anyway, so what are we going to do? How are we going to do this problem? How can we make 195 degrees out of two angles added or subtracted? There's probably a lot of ways to, at least more than one way to do it. I'm thinking 180 and 15, but that won't work because 15 degrees is not on my unit circle. I want to use two angles that are on my unit circle. What if I made this 150? Oh yeah, that'll work. 150 and 45, huh? We could do it that way because that makes 195, doesn't it? So that's what we want to do. That's one good way. You could probably also do a subtraction, I guess. What would that be? I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's other ways to do it. So I'm going to do cosine of 150 degrees plus 45 degrees. X is going to be 150. Y is going to be 45 because that is the cosine of 195, isn't it? Right? That's the same as the cosine of 195. That way I can find the cosine of 195. So my x is 150. So everywhere we've got x, we now are going to put in 150 for x. Y is 45. So I'll put in 45 for y. So what do we have? Cosine 150, cosine 45, sine 150, sine 45. Now what sign in the middle? Remember, opposite. So this has plus, so this needs to be minus, opposite. Opposite sign in the middle. Okay, let's work it out. So now we go to the unit circle and get the cosine of 150 and the sine of 150. We can get that. Let's go to the unit circle. 150, where? There it is, 150. Cosine, sine, right? Cosine first, then sine. Cosine's negative root 3 over 2. So this is negative root 3 over 2. Sine of 150 is positive a half. Okay, let's go get the cosine of 45 and sine of 45. So 45 right here, cosine, sine, they're both just root 2 over 2. That's easy. And there's a times in between and a times here. Why is there a times? Because there's no symbol. It must mean times. When there's no symbol between two things, it must mean times. And the minus that's in the very middle. Okay, so let's work that out. Now, what is this? Just multiply straight and straight. This is minus root 6 over 4 minus straight, and straight 1 times root 2 is root 2 over 4. So that's minus root 6 minus root 2 over 4. Did you know, by the way, or you could also put it this way, that that's the same thing? Do you know when you, I'll put a box around those just so, whoops, so that you're clear. They are the same, that or that. They're the same. There are two ways of saying the same thing. Do you know that? You could have a minus in the front, because a minus in the front means if it went up here, it hit that guy and that guy. That's what it means, right? A minus in the front of a fraction could go to the top, and it'll hit everybody in the top. Or you could just have it there already. There are two ways of saying the same thing. Both are good. Either one is fine. They are correct. So that's an exact answer for cosine of 195. We got it by adding 150 and 45, two angles we could get off the unit circle, and using the sum of angles formula for cosine. How you'd handle two cosine angles added up. There it is.